Well, the driving force of our housing crisis and the displacement that we have been experiencing in San Francisco is real estate industry greed. For so many developers and real estate speculators, San Francisco is just a place to make money off of. Certain things that our city has done have helped to prevent displacement and to regulate some of these profits. So rent control is a perfect example where the community really rose up against rising prices in 1979 and established rent control that's enabled many working class people to stay in their homes. We also have public housing and subsidized housing that, although the funding for any form of public and subsidized housing has decreased year after year because of federal cuts, we still have quite a bit of public housing and subsidized housing in the District 5 that has kept the neighborhood somewhat diverse. But the reality is thousands of people have been displaced from District 5, tens of thousands of people have been displaced across the city. Right now, every year, an estimated 5,000 tenants are displaced from San Francisco. And there is a very simple reason for that, and that is that people are making money from that displacement. So landlords are finding ways around rent control to increase rents. Some landlords are engaging in bad faith evictions that displace countless tenants. And the city's taken some steps to clamp down on those evictions and displacement, but not the kind of bold steps that we need to take to make sure that we don't continue to experience this displacement. So we are on track to lose the low-income and working-class community in San Francisco unless something drastic happens, and that's one of the main things that compels me to run for public office, something I've never done before, but I believe the solutions are there in City Hall, and what we are lacking is the political will to stand up to the real estate industry. I think we need to approach the displacement in this city as a crisis. One of the things I want to do immediately if elected to office is to establish a right to counsel for all tenants who are facing an eviction notice in San Francisco. Too often people are kicked out of their homes in San Francisco when they don't need to be, just because their landlord can afford an expensive lawyer and they have to go to court on their own. So just that simple act of guaranteeing a right to counsel, which is part of a national movement for a civil right to counsel, would stop thousands of evictions in the city. We also need to get serious about building affordable housing and really reject this false narrative that somehow creating market rate and luxury housing will trickle down to the low-income and working-class people in this city. That approach has never worked. It didn't work when Ronald Reagan tried trickle-down economics, and it doesn't work here in San Francisco. So how much market rate housing we want to build as a city is one question, but regardless of how much market rate housing we build, that doesn't create affordable housing unless we're requiring developers to include higher percentages of affordable housing within new developments. So we need to prioritize building affordable housing, not just market rate housing, and make sure that tenants who are affordably housed, particularly in rent-controlled housing or in subsidized housing, are able to stay in their homes.